Okay, I'm going to show you how the equipment I carry on my motorcycles and in my cars for inflating tires if I get a flat. Okay, I carry these tire pumps. They were made by Slime. They are still making them. I saw small tire pumps like this. There's a can of pop for scale, but they were $9.99 at one time at Walmart. I think I saw some at AutoZone last week, and they were $19.99, similar to this. Okay, I've seen these at Harbor Freight. They were yellow. These have a problem. These plugs have a fuse in them, and the connection on the fuse is not very good. It's one of the glass type 1-inch long fuses, and I had given these pumps. I gave one to my mom and one to my sister. My sister called me one night and said, "I have a flat." I said, "Well, I gave you a tire pump. Blow it up, see if it's leaking, or or at least you can drive somewhere and have somebody repair it or whatever." Anyway, she said, "I can't get it to work." So it was 12 degrees out. I drove all the way over there. It took me half an hour to get there. That didn't work. I had to use the one I carry in my truck. And when I investigated, it's the fuse, internal fuse in that plug that was, it smoked the fuse. And so I put a new fuse in, plugged it in, and it did the same thing instantly because of the bad connection. It has two saddles that the fuse snaps into, and they just are not good enough. So when you have a bad connection, that's a point of high resistance. So anyway, I eliminated that plug, and I put alligator clips on to just clip straight onto the battery, and I eliminated the fuse. I just bypassed the fuse. Now if you need to use that type of plug, you could jump it with a piece of wire, or wrap the blown fuse, or even a good fuse, with aluminum foil and put it in, and that's called a South Georgia fuse, and that will bypass the fuse. What's the fuse for? It's to protect the pump. Who cares? These things were 10 bucks. They tell you if you run it for more than 15 minutes or 10 minutes to let it cool down for 10 minutes. I guess that would be when you're inflating a car tire. So anyway, the third type of pump I have right here, it's a Slime, different style, has a light at the bottom, well, at least in the bottom in this reference, right there, so you can see what you're doing at night. The hose is much longer than that, but I just have it packed inside and held in with tape because I only need it to be that long for now. And it's got a gauge on it and an on-off switch. So this tire is equalized, it's flat. So I'm going to time how long it takes to inflate this tire. Okay, it's 1:30 exactly. Let's see. I'm going to plug this in and time how long it takes to get up to about 30 pounds. Okay, while we're waiting, they're advertising tire pumps on television right now for $89 that are nothing more than this type of a little pump internally with a battery hanging off the bottom. They tell you you can inflate your car tire and be on your way if you have a flat. Let me tell you how long it takes. To inflate a car tire may take half an hour, depending on how big it is. Maybe 15 to 20 minutes for a small tire. But It's not going to be something you plug in and you're on your way like you were at a service station using their air pump. Okay, while you are working on your tires, I suggest you go on eBay and buy some of these brass valve caps. They've got a gasket inside, so they seal tightly against the Schrader valve, and they've got the Schrader valve core tool on the end for removing, tightening, and loosening your valve cores. What's a valve core? Here's the two styles of valve cores right there that for cars and small trucks and motorcycles. That's all that's holding the pressure in your tire. When you depress that little pin sticking up there, right there, when you depress that, that puts the air in. And this little O-ring at the bottom that slide is contacting, that's all you have holding the air in your tire. So you got to run valve caps, especially on motorcycles, because they stick straight up. And when you hit bumps, that's quite an impact. You can lose air if the centrifugal force and the impact pressure compresses that little spring there. That's not much more than a ballpoint pen spring maintaining pressure. Here's the other style of valve core. And when you get these caps, buy a half dozen or a dozen of them on eBay. They're like 50 cents a piece or something like that. Put it on a valve stem. That way you can find it when you need it in your toolbox. And you can, when you're installing tires, you can take the valve core out to let the air out, or tighten and check your valve core. Whoop, straight to China. Nope. Anyway, you can buy this kind too. Valve core tool. You notice how it's screwed on to a valve stem. Okay? That is how you install a valve into a rim. If your rim is here, all right, and has the hole from the inside, you push the valve through, okay, then you screw this tool on. Okay, so you don't drop the valve back in until you pull it in. All right, then you get yourself a pair of diagonals or pliers or something like that, and you pivot off of the rim and pull the valve in. That's how I've always put new valves in on cars, trucks. Okay, so where are we now? We're at 22 pounds. After 6 minutes. Okay, I want to get it up to, let's take it up to 30, which is right there at the 1 o'clock. Now, I don't know how accurate that gauge is. I will double check it with a pencil gauge. And by the way, I have a video comparing all of my tire gauges to each other. And my dollar ones compared to my digital and my large analog ones, they were all within a pound of each other. It's amazing that even a dollar tire gauge, I have about 5 of those, shows the same pressure. Okay, we're at about 26 pounds after 7 minutes. Okay, we're almost at 30 pounds. We are at 30 pounds. All right, I'm going to shut it off. And I'm going to check it with a tire gauge to see if that's right. Now I'm going to lose some of the air unscrewing that. Not much. Okay, so that was showing, there's the little light on the end. So you can see what the heck you're doing at night if you get a flash. I don't know how you turn the light on or off. I guess it's always on. Okay, tire gauge. Let's see what we got. This was indicating 30 pounds. Ah, terrible. That's about right. There's 25 and 30. So 7 minutes to inflate from equalized to 30 pounds. So I imagine it would take another 25% more time to get it up to what it calls for, the low 40s, like 41 or 42 pounds in this particular tire. So, now what I've done on my motorcycles is I've bought these accessory outlets. They used to be called cigarette lighters. Okay, and I put a plug that will plug into my electric vest outlet on my motorcycles. You can put different ends on. That will just plug in. But with this type, with the Witter electric vest, you have to make sure you identify which one's the hot, the positive, that goes to the center, so you don't do damage to the pump. Okay, and this was like $8 or $9, and I have one of these on each of all my motorcycles. That way I can also plug in not just a tire pump, but a charging hickey for my phone or my camera that will run off of whatever the output of this transformer is, that runs off of 12 volts DC. So that is how I do it. And those tire pumps they're advertising for $90 on television. Air pump with a battery on it that you charge, I guess. $90 for a pump that is no more than one of these. It's just it may not even run on 12 volts. That battery may be a 6-volt pump, a 6-volt battery. But here's what's going to happen. If you buy one of those $90 ones, you're going to stick it in your trunk, fully charged, and you're going to forget about it. And it's going to be in there for a year or 2 or 3, okay? Then you're going to have a flat. Or someone is going to have a flat. You're going to say, hey, wait, I got a tire pump. You'll go get the pump and the battery is going to be dead. That's why it's better to have one that has the 12-volt plug on it that you can always plug into your accessory outlet on your car or your motorcycle, or just connect it to the battery if you change the clips. And go to Walmart and buy one of these valve core tools. They always have them in stock. And the last time I noticed them there, they were $1.99, and they have the valve core tool on the end and the threaded end for pulling in a valve, and they're a little bigger and you can't lose them. And if you screw it to a valve, an old valve tire valve, it'll be in your toolbox and you'll be able to spot it. And buy some of these brass valve caps with the Schrader valve tool fork on the end, and put it on a tire valve, and that way you'll be able to find it in your toolbox. And on all my vehicles, I have at least one of these on one of the valve stems on the vehicles, and I give them to my kids, and I give them away to friends. So if you want to buy one of those ones on television that runs on a battery that you have to keep charged, go ahead. $90, okay? But for you could buy 4 of these for less than that, and they will never be dead when you go to use them, because you're going to plug them into your electrical system on your bike or your car. And you see how long it takes to blow up a tire. It took 7 minutes to go from equalized to 30 pounds, and I checked it with the gauge, and it did. That gauge is sort of accurate. It showed 30, and so did the pencil gauge. Okay, so they are a must carry. I have one in here. I got one on my Venture. I just won't leave home without them. I've had 5 flat tires riding motorcycles, and one of them was a tube, and believe it or not, that happened Halloween night on my Moto Guzzi SP1000, and I'm not kidding, about 11 o'clock at night next to a cemetery. It was interesting.